Alright class, today we are going to talk about the group 3 questions from your assignment today or yesterday depending on when you're viewing this video. And the the problem of multiplying a negative integer times a negative integer. Yesterday the ones we looked at were positive times a positive or positive times a negative. So we're going to look at that group 3 questions. So if you have your worksheet, you can look at it, or we'll we'll look at them in just a minute. So let's look at what we already know. As you can see, this looks like a coordinate grid up here, and it is, but it's also a form of a multiplication chart. So the area of the multiplication chart that we're familiar with right now is this piece: positive factor times a positive factor. So let's go ahead and complete this portion of the multiplication chart real quick. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 1, 2. 3 times 1, 3. 4 times 1, 4. And then 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 4 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. And 5 times 2 is 10. And we'll go on and fill in the rest of this multiplication chart. Now, that's the portion of the multiplication chart that you've been familiar with since about third grade. And we're going to expand this multiplication chart now to go to the negative integers. Just like we talked about in lesson 2.5, when you go from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2, it's going to be a reflection across the y-axis. So, just like our coordinate points reflect across the y-axis, our products will also reflect. So what will be the reflection of positive 1? If you said negative 1, you're correct. So each one of these products have an opposite as their reflection across the y-axis. So 2 will become negative 2. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Just like we discovered yesterday when we have a positive factor times a negative factor. We'll go ahead and complete this side of the coordinate grid or multiplication chart. And the same holds true for our products and the reflection across the x-axis. From quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, when we reflect those products across the x-axis, they'll also give their reflection of that product. So 1 will become negative 1. And as you can see, 1 times negative 1 gives us that negative product. 2 times negative 1 gives us a negative product, just like we found out yesterday using the chip model. We're going to complete the rest of this quadrant. Sorry about that. Negative 5 times 4 is not negative 16. It's negative 20. and negative 25. Now we have one quadrant left on this coordinate grid slash multiplication chart, and that will include two negative factors. So we are now looking at a negative 1 times a negative 1 and wondering what our product will be. Well, if we go off the same idea of these reflections, if we reflect from the second quadrant to the third quadrant, our products should reflect. So instead of a negative 1 product, our product is positive 1, because it's the opposite, it's a reflection of negative 1. We can also look at it from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3, and a reflection of these products going negative, becoming positive. So negative 5 times negative 1 gave us a positive product. So if we complete the rest of this coordinate grid, now what I'd like you to do, last thing for the notes tonight, is look at and notice what kind of factors make positive products and what kind of factors make negative products. Be prepared to share with us in class when you come in. Thank you.